Everyone's got a building material that gives them trouble. For me, it's marble and grouston. They're so tied to the Mistlands and Ashlands, it's hard to imagine them in a cozy, meadow-style build. But hey, practice makes perfect, and that's exactly what we're doing today. In fact, I've got something completely different in mind, something built around the Black Forge. Hi, I'm Klaus, and welcome to Let's Build Goldmint. Okay, this is not my portal tower. Who the heck are you?
God damn it. Obviously, it seems that you don't know me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Freyd. Answer me this. Did you get my raven?
Those were from you? Okay, so what's the challenge?
Spin the wheel, get a crafting station, build small, simple as that.
Alright, if the ravens stop, I'll spin.
You're a killjoy, you know that? But fine, no more ravens. I promise, for now.
Black Forge. Wait, what did you get?
Golder stable. Wanna trade?
Absolutely not. Been there, done that. I'm gonna need a stage though.
And I wish you the best. Show me what you can do.
I think I'm gonna need it. Before we can build, we need a theme. Thanks to Freyd's Wheel of Misery, we landed on the Black Forge. I'm gonna pass on weapon crafting as a theme. That's too obvious. Instead, take a look at the forge. What are some of the main components you can see? I see marble, fire, and gold. Add a pint of dwarf to that, and I think we've got ourselves a mint. A mint is where gold coins and other currency are produced, and gold coin is the exact currency the traders of Valheim use. Whoa, that's like a perfect match. Good thinking, Klaus. So we've got our inspiration, the Black Forge. That gave us our components, marble, fire, and gold, which inspired our theme, a gold mint. In case you want to participate at home, let's go over the challenge rules. The build needs to be within 10 by 10 meters and no higher than 2 stories, but stairs and decoration are allowed beyond the boundary. The theme must match the crafting table you've selected. And have fun. If you're building along with me, then we're going to assemble across 3 stages. The block, which will cover the floor and 4 main walls. The tower, which includes the roof and smokestack. And the details, which will cover the exterior and interior specifics. Post any questions you have in the comments, and if you get lost, don't be afraid to rewind. Whoa, too far. Alright, let's build this thing. We want to try to color within the lines here, so let's mark out a 10 by 10 meter space. Spoiler alert, we're gonna fudge that a little. With the perimeters set, round out each corner using 1 meter beams. We're doing this because we want the space of a box, but not the shape. Marble already has enough angles, so we're literally trying to take some of the edge off. Before we build up the walls, let's install the floors. Just give me a moment to remove these old stone blocks. Well, that's surprising. Here's the best way to install the floor. Okay, Time for the walls. Let's place the corners first. Take 1 meter black marble cubes and place them inside the wood beams. Earlier, when I said we'd fudge it, I was hinting at this next step. Place a wood door here, here, and here. Now use the door's outer snap point to place a 2 meter marble block like this, then snap a second one on the end. Remove the doors and finish the base of each wall. We're now kinda working beyond the perimeter, but the line is technically dead center of this wall. So raise the corners up to 5 meters, but punch out the middle for a window. Speaking of windows, let's get those started. The walls and windows on the east and west sides are identical. The north has its own design, and the south will be our entrance. We'll build the west side first. Kick it off by placing 2 1 meter cubes here in the center, then stack an arch on top of each. This should form a T. The next part is a little tricky, so pay close attention. In most cases, I would use iron to fill in the window, but I really want the inside of this build to shine, so we're using copper walls instead. These do a great job reflecting firelight. Normally I would install windows by using the wooden door to create a line up the middle of the block, but as you can see, this doesn't center the pattern in the window. To correct that, we need to nudge the wood beam over just slightly, and to do that, we're going to need another wooden door. Snap bottom corner 2 to the top corner of the marble block. Then snap a second wood door perpendicular to the first, using bottom corner 1, like this. Now place a wood beam so it lines the center of the marble block, and remove the doors. See how we've nudged the beam in by half a meter? Now when we install the copper wall, the pattern will be centered in our window. Finish this window by placing a 1 meter cube in the middle, then connecting a plinth to it, using the top inner 2 snap point. Remove the cube and place an arch on top of the plinth. Because we already nudged the wood beam over, we don't need to repeat our double door trick. Just remove the bottom cube, connect another 2 meter beam to the first and a 1 meter beam to that. Then install the copper wall. Replace the cube and place another next to it. Connect the plinth, remove the middle cube, and finish up with the final arch. That's one wall down. We'll simply repeat those steps to build the opposite wall. Word of advice for those working on their own tutorials: save some room in the back of your stage so you can film things properly. I got an idea though. Through the magic of editing, let's 180 this thing. Alrighty, replace the left and right blocks with 1 meter cubes and remove the central block. Connect the bottom of a plinth to each cube, then stack 2 cubes on top of the plinth. In the gap, replace the wood beam with a flametal one. Using flametal pillars, build up 4 meters on each side, then connect them at the top with a beam. Now, free place a small column in the gap, right on top of the cube. Try to center it as much as possible. Add additional column pieces to raise the height to 6 meters. Finally, install 2 copper walls to fill in the window. That's another wall down, 1 to go. Since we're working with marble, we obviously want to include the diverger door. It's too good not to. And since that's going to be our door, we're going to want to frame it in a way that pops. Let's begin there. Place a wood door against the middle beam, kind of like we did on the other sides. Now snap the angled end of a plinth to each of the door's outer corners, and stack a cornice on top of each plinth. Remove the wood door. There's our door frame, simple as that, though we're not quite done here yet. Place 2 more plinths so that the main columns overlap the vertical edge of our existing frame. On top of one of the cornices, place the wood door along the edge, and then double stack a pair of 1x1 meter groused-in floor pieces. Add a groused-in small beam between the two. The half-meter shuffle is important because we're now going to wrap this pattern all the way around, and that half meter allows us to precisely make the turn around the corner. See? Okay, do the loop. I'm getting excited, this is coming along great. So why did we do this? Let's take a look at the build's corners. You'll notice that the curve is now contrasted and framed by the angles of the plinths. This, combined with the window within the curve, triples the layers of depth. I read somewhere that depth is the absence of something. In this case, we've taken what would have been a boring, flat corner and chiseled it away to create something striking. If you're wondering why there's a gap around the edge of the building, it's because building on dirt works a little differently than building on a stage. When you place a floor piece on natural terrain, it sits slightly above the ground, which leaves a visible gap between the base of your wall and the dirt below. I recommend filling that space with a layer of marble. It helps everything feel a lot more grounded and polished. There's still more work to do on the walls, but we'll come back to that when we get into the detailing. Now that that's complete, let's put the roof on. This roof is heavy, so it needs proper support. Start in the back of the room. Place a wooden door against the copper wall, then use the inner snap point to center a 1 meter groused-in floor piece. Now, build out a raised circle using marble cubes. Rotate each cube 1 notch as you go, 6 rotations total for each side. Once the circle's in place, replace the groused-in floor piece with a marble one to match. On top of the corner cubes, stack 6 meters of marble to form 2 tall support columns. These will carry the weight of the roof and help define the structure of the room. Start by raising each curved corner by 1 more meter. Using 2 meter blocks, connect the corners. To find the center of the corner, snap a 1 meter beam to the outer edge of the marble block. Then, take a marble floor piece and snap one of the corners to the end of that beam. That gives us the perfect placement to complete this side of the roof. Now repeat that same process on the opposite corner. Next, we'll frame a vent. Place 2 floor pieces like this, leaving a gap in the center. Then place 2 meter blocks along the top and bottom of the opening. That gives us a clean 4x4 meter hole for ventilation. And for the finishing touch, snap a marble triangle into each corner to seal it up and tie the shape together. We're going to have a big fire in here, which means we need a way to vent all the smoke. But we don't just want any old chimney. We want something industrial and dwarven, something that will raise the height and define the shape of the entire building. It took a lot of trial and error before I landed on a tower I was happy with. Most of my early attempts were either too tall or too bulky. Keeping the design simple and the size appropriate helped me to create a tower that fit the structure perfectly. To me, it looks like a little volcano, and I love it. Now, most people might assume we want this tower centered on the roof, but that'd be a mistake. Because of the limited space inside, we actually need to push the fire and chimney toward the back of the build. That way, we still have room to move around. Speaking of the back, that's where we'll start construction. Begin by centering 3 marble cubes behind the back columns. These should line up exactly with the groused floor pieces. Place a groused tile on top of the center cube, then place another tile behind it, working towards the roof center. After that, add 1 more marble cube. Using the snap points on the outer corners, start to build a full circle. You can save yourself some time and hassle by placing 2 groused tiles beside each marble cube as you rotate around. The result should be a vent mostly centered on the roof. Use additional cubes to raise the height of the stack to 4 meters. At this point, the tower vents smoke just fine, but it doesn't look very good. We don't just want purpose, we want style too. To give it that style, we'll widen the base with a slope and add some definition at the top. Here's how. Place a plinth on top of the groused tiles, a marble cube on the plinth, and then another groused tile on top of that. Do this at each rotation around the tower base. With that slope in place, let's finish it off with some detail. Add 2 small groused beams, one at the top edge of the tile and one at the bottom. Repeat this all the way around the top for a nice defined rim. Like I said, mini volcano. Alright, we've got ourselves a giant block. For most people, that might be enough, but not for us. We know that the details are what take a build from this to this. Now it's easy to go overboard, and today we're crossing that line just a little. First, a quick check-in. You'll notice we're still building mostly within the lines. Freyd said decorations can extend past the boundary, so we're going to push things out just a bit. Start by placing a wood door centered on the side wall. Add a marble cube to either side, then fill in the center. Now place another wood door, but this time line up one edge with the center of the wall. Use the opposite edge to cleanly center a small marble column, face flat with the door. Build 1 column down and 4 up. Just in from the front edge, attach a groused and tapered pillar to the top. Stack up small pillars about 3 meters and cap it off with an inverted tapered pillar. Repeat the process on the opposite side. Now for a quirky detail. Try this out. At the top of the wall, remove the center block. Slide a black forge into the gap so its base aligns with the groused tiles, then replace the block. This adds a subtle, golden accent to the exterior. Repeat on the other wall. Let's bring these columns around to the front entrance too. Build them up just like before and place a standing brazier on top of each. Here's a fun one. If you're up for it, dig down about a meter to the front left. Place a marble thrown in the hole with the arms just below the soil line, then fill the dirt back in. Replace a small column with a ward on top, then add a sconce. Now, let's finish things off with crenellations around the roof. Start by placing a Growston tile at the beginning of the corner. Snap a marble cube to the corner and build around the turn. Remove every other cube to create a raised pattern. Go ahead and complete the left and right sides while using a 2-meter block as the middle crenellation. Don't worry about the back. This next part's my favorite. Remove the center cube and place a marble thrown backwards so its back just peeks through the front. Replace the cube. Use a wood door to align cubes on top of the Growston tiles and fill in the middle. Place a ward directly above, centered in front of the throne. For mine, I spawned in the diverger ward using dev commands. It just fits the look too well to pass up. A normal ward will look great too though. Finish it all off with a blue curtain and a scale shield. And finally, the big, beautiful diverger door. Come on in and let's set the interior. There's not much to do actually. The little work there is important though. Let's get some light in here. On the back wall, line 3 cornices just above the window. These will help push excess smoke up and into the chimney. On the floor, use the outer corners of marble cubes to create an indent on our semicircle. This sets the stage for the most important piece, the black forge. Use the curve we just created and push the forge in as close to the fire pit as possible. It'll be slightly beneath the vent, but it's still protected enough to use. Set a layer of Growston tiles along the side walls so we can arrange some important upgrades to the forge. I also frame in the wall by adding a layer of marble to the top. From this point on, it's all decoration, and that's really up to you, but since this is a gold mint, bring on the shiny. All the shiny. A couple clever additions are the bellows and the fermenter. We gotta keep the fire hot and the water flowing. If you follow my lead and add a brazier, then I recommend placing it early and letting it burn out. The coals look like they'd be used at the forge, but the extra smoke will snuff out the bonfire. The fire, the gold, the shiny, all of it works together to really make this room feel hot. Because of that, no shirts allowed. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're done. Cue the fireworks. So, what did we actually build here? We started with a 10x10 challenge and turned it into a diverger mint, something that feels grounded in the Mistlands, but still entirely unique. We shaped the space with curves, contrasted it with sharp edges, and balanced heavy materials like marble and Growston with the flow of copper and flame. We learned that even rigid materials can be shaped into something fluid with the right layering and framing, that you don't need a big space to make a bold statement, and that constraints, like a tiny footprint in a specific crafting station, can spark creativity instead of stifling it. We also saw how light, smoke, and texture can define atmosphere just as much as shape. I like to build small and focused, so this was a really great challenge for me. I hope you give it a shot for yourself. Head over to Freyd's channel to see how this challenge got started and what he built with the Galder table. Before we wrap, I'm passing this challenge on to 2 others. While Avatar of Ku is fighting for survival in the current season of Verso's Naked and Afraid, she's also producing some very unhinged Valheim content, so who knows what she'll build. I'm also going to tag Homitu. I learned an absolute ton watching his 10 Tips build series, which I highly recommend. He holds a wealth of building experience and knowledge. Links to their channels, as well as Freyd's and the challenge wheel are down below. If you'd like to explore this build for yourself, the download is up on Patreon. Special thanks to these fine patrons for their support last month. I really appreciate everyone being a part of the team. And that's a wrap on this episode of Let's Build. I've got a boat to catch, so thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.